Hey guys, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell to be updated every time I make a new video. Thanks, let's begin. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Brian, and I am the Horror Shark. I thought it high time to try something a little different. I do after the watches. I've wanted to do after the listens for music, but I haven't been able to really get that going forward. But I figured I could do something a little different in between that will work just fine. This is after the read. Like after the watch, that's when after I watch a movie, I'll give my thoughts on it if I've seen it before or a long time ago, or if I've never seen it and just finally watched it and I'm like, hey, here's what I thought about it. This is the same kind of thing, but with books. Now, I have read this book before. It is The Rats by James Herbert, but I have not read it in a long, long time. Probably I want to say about 6 or 7 years. So technically, I didn't read it. I listened to it through audiobook, and I count that as reading in a way. You're still ingesting the book and understanding its contents and everything about it. James Herbert is a British author, very famous in his time, kind of underrated now. I read his Rat trilogy, and that's it. But after reading or listening to the Rats again, I have to say this is a stellar pulp horror novel. The thing I am very impressed with is how he was able to be like, hey, I can make a sequel out of this, or even a trilogy, and he did. But so much stuff happens in the Rats. Like so many locations are attacked. The Rats just go everywhere. They're mad rats. It starts off with a guy in a stall who was a gay businessman, and his life got shattered because of that, and his love for a younger employee getting viciously mauled and killed by rats in the bathroom stall. Wonderful. Nice way to punch your audience in the face and go like, hey, this book does not give a shit. And then to further prove that, a young boy is bitten by the rats, as well as a baby is killed, as well as his dog, and the mother, who is bitten by the rat. Now, the rats carry a virus, a very deadly virus. It kills you within 24 hours. It makes your skin stretch, and your bones just can't. It makes your skin stretch basically until it starts to rip, and then you die, very painfully. Now, that's messed up. It's a messed up book, and I absolutely love it for that. Mr. Herbert also never wanted to have that scene. Mr. Herbert also regrets putting in that scene where the baby is killed with his dog, or her dog. I think it was a boy actually, but it's a nice, shocking moment to get your audience or readers into the book. Like, oh my gosh, this is 1974, and they're writing stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, I mean, Guy and Smith had Werewolf by Moonlight out this year too, in 1974. That was a pretty brutal book. So The Rats is definitely up there with one of the most insane, gruesome books of that time. This is also the same year Jaws came out, 1974. The book, not the movie. So 1974 was a great year for creature features, or creature reads. The Rats definitely is up there with one of the best, amongst the best. So the Rats definitely take over a lot of locations. There's it starts off, I think, with the schoolyard, and they eventually get into the school and start trying to attack the kids and the teachers. They attack a subway station, movie theater, zoo. Every place and every one falls victim to the rats. Now, in this book, they also kind of discover the cure for the bite, and it is useful near the end. I've heard people be like, well, they just introduced this cure in the sequel. Like, no, its origin started in the first one. Like, oh yeah, it was actually a pretty common virus that we'd heard of from the Germans were trying to work on in World War II, and it was kept a secret. But we know the cure. So in that, it's definitely a bit of a cop out, but not a terrible cop out. Yeah, there's some pretty gnarly stuff in this book, like people getting bitten and then twisted their flesh, like even their balls get bit and then, ooh. Uh, One thing I did notice that didn't really need to keep happening was the backstories for the victims. Now I do that in my books too, but I don't make them like several pages. I make them a few paragraphs, and there you go. You have your backstory. This one goes on. I think one of them goes on for like 10 pages about this woman bum who was a Christian woman, and she had an appetite for sex, and kind of soiled her mind, and she did awful things and destroyed families because of it. Lost jobs, even though they tried to help her in every way they could. She was just too far gone, and eventually she became a homeless woman who sells her body for booze and everything. It's horrible. But, like, it goes on for 10 pages. Now, come on. Come on. And it ends with her just, there it goes. All that backstory, all that life gone in a paragraph. I don't think it needed that much to be really selling that this woman was a bad person or that she just didn't understand. You could just have a few paragraphs. And that happens in the beginning with the gay businessman, too. It goes on for about 4 or 5 pages. It happens a lot, but I do think that it kind of makes you forget what you're reading. Like, oh, this is now a new kind of story, one that goes about how this person did this and that's become this, or have this kind of outcome. And it works and it doesn't, because you feel bad, and then you feel bad that they're getting killed by our rats, but you're also kind of really invested in their story. Then the rats come and you're like, oh yeah, it's about killer rats. So it kind of takes you off guard, but not in a good way. But yeah, I definitely would check this one out. Oh man, that's funny. Right at the end it says, Killer Crabs by Guy N. Smith. Uh, that's the sequel to Night of the Crabs, because this was a re-release of Rats. I have another paperback of it too, as well as um, one I've had for a very long time. It should be over here somewhere. Here it is. Here it is. This is my first copy of Rats, where the sides are chewed off like rat bites, but they're not actually rat bites. They're just, yeah. This is like a re-release as well. Really nice edition too. I read this paperback first, and it's in about the same kind of condition I started it with. Really tight binding. But I do like this cover more. So yeah, I would definitely check out the Rats, but if you don't have a strong stomach, it might really gross you out. So know that. And people have been like, "Oh, it doesn't. The women are not written properly." To that I say, it was a guy writing it. It wasn't Stephen King with a wife who would help him with the writing and tell him how women act. It was just a man and a man's point of view on woman, or how women act. So don't take it personally. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. Make sure to check out my Facebook pages for Raventail reviewers and Raven Tormented readers. They're on Facebook, like I said. I mean, the links are in the description below, but check out those pages. They're pertaining towards Raventail Books. They're pertaining towards Raventail Books, which is the company I had my books published through. So yeah, definitely check that out in my books as well. All the links down here in the bottom of the screen, like Patreon, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. Check those out. Greatly appreciate the support. On Patreon, even if you donate like $1, or eventually it'll be like $3 a month, you can get unlimited access to early videos, and I think after like at $5, you can suggest movies for me to review, like one a year, and more. You can, well, the more money you donate, the more you can suggest or ask from me to review, and I will review it. Also, movie palette. I'll never get it right. Movie palette is basically every line signifies the color of a scene. So like this is one is for Jaws. Like it starts with the nighttime and that little black spot, then goes to day, day. It's a cool discussion piece. If you want to save 15% on a movie palette, use the code SHARP15 in the description below, or even just type SHARP15 and you'll be able to get the discount. And otherwise, that's going to do it for this video, guys. And also, if you don't want to spend any money or follow any of the pages, just hit that notification bell to be notified every time I make a new video. And as always, subscribe. Try to be like a rat. I failed.